Alright, listen up. We need to talk. We need to have a talk about No One Escapes Death, also known as NOED. It's about time that somebody sat down with you and had a little one-on-one chat. Just think of it as I'm your dad, and we're gonna sit down and talk about the birds and the bees. Or like I'm your dad, and it's time for you to move out, so we need to sit down and have a talk about the real world and how it can be a harsh place and how you need to stop being a little bitch. However you want to look at it, my purpose today is to explain to you the truth about NOED. Now, we're going to be splitting this up into 3 different categories, okay? Category number 1 is called prevention. I'm sure that if you've complained about NOED on the internet, there's at least been one person that said, well, just cleanse totems. And that's true. But obviously sometimes it's not that simple, right? Because totems can be hidden quite well, especially on some of the newer maps. Well, thank goodness you have 3 perks that tell you exactly where totems are and speed up how fast you cleanse them. First is Small Game, which is a non-teachable base game perk just like NOED. And this one, it tells you where totems are. If you're looking in their direction, you get a sound cue. If they're anywhere within 12 meters of you, and you can just like walk around and spin in circles until the thing goes off, and then you can find the totem. It's very, very simple. And then there's Detective's Hunch, which anytime you finish a generator, you can see totems that are within 64 meters of you. And the aura is revealed for 10 seconds. There's generators all over the map, so by the time you get to the end game using this perk, there's no reason you shouldn't know where the totems are. Now the third and quite possibly the best option is Counterforce, and that's the newest addition to Dead by Daylight. You cleanse totems 20% faster, and every time you cleanse a totem, you go 20% even faster than that. And every time you cleanse a totem, you see the furthest totem from you, as in you see the aura, for 4 seconds. Now this is just what I don't understand, is so many of you complain about NOED, you complain about killers using it, and if you hate it so much, why are you not running these perks? Why are you not running them? It's because you don't want to not run your meta perks, right? You don't want to take a slot out of your build. And to that I say, well, too fucking bad. That's your choice. Stop acting like it's this unavoidable reckoning upon you. It's certainly not. While we're talking about meta perks, let's go on to our second category, which is double standards. Yes, we see a lot of double standards in Dead by Daylight. We certainly do. But I think one of the biggest double standards in this game is when people complain about NOED, quote-unquote, rewarding bad play. Do you know how many perks you have as Survivor that reward you for bad play, or reward you for being outpositioned, or reward you even if the killer outplays you? And not even to talk about perks, but also items such as insta-heals, which also rewards you for being outpositioned. You know, you can be injured about to go down and all of a sudden pop an insta-heal, and then, you know, you get to take an extra hit. Or you can pop a syringe after you drop a pallet, and then you can make it to the next loop, and within a few seconds you're fully healed, and now the chase is extended double. I've seen people disagree with me about the exhaustion perk thing in some of my comments because they've heard me say that, and they think it's not the same thing or not even close to being comparable to NOED. So I'm just going to show you some examples here. So let's start with Sprint Burst. You can be playing as I am here, doing a generator that's out by the street with no safe pallets or anything nearby. At least not that I'm seeing. I just see Nemesis right next to me, but I have Sprint Burst ready. And I'm doing the gen right in his face. But it doesn't matter, right? Because I have Sprint Burst. So now I can zip all the way over to the Killer Shack, and now I can loop him for a good amount of time. And there's not shit he can do about it. And now, instead of getting a free hit, which he should have been able to because I was outpositioned, Sprint Burst gave me that free distance to get to Killer Shack. And now I just have to wait for the exhausted status effect to go away, and I can use that perk over and over again. Another example here with Balanced Landing. I come out this window, and Trickster makes the right read and comes down instead of committing to the top, and it doesn't matter because I have Balanced Landing. So I completely zip away. Even though he made the right read and outplayed me, technically, my perk took control and brought me to a pallet, and now I get to extend the chase and he doesn't get a hit. Lithe also gives you a bunch of distance. I've got a tier 3 Myers here coming after me, and he should get the down here, but instead my Lithe carries me to a pallet where I can then continue to extend the chase, but I was outpositioned. He did make the right read and just go for the door. I think the biggest example with exhaustion though is Dead Hard, and there's been a million examples on my stream. I'm just going to show this example because it's the most recent one that I have from my most recent stream. Those of you in the comments are going to say, Dead Hard's bad, it doesn't work half the time. Yeah, it doesn't work half the time if you use it to avoid a hit, but that's not how you use it, and if you're a good player, you know that. If you're a good player, you use it for distance. And that's what I do in this video, and it ultimately results in me escaping. That's unfortunate. Oh, that's really unfortunate. Maybe I can make it to the other fucking thing now. There's no way I make it. She's gonna body block for me. Oh my god. Oh my god. People complain about NOED. I literally escaped the whole entire fucking game because of Dead Hard. I should have been dead right there. But I wasn't, because Dead Hard gave me distance. I made it to the pallet. If it was not for Dead Hard, I would be fucking toaster strudels, man. Toaster strudels. Decisive Strike and Deliverance are two other really good examples of second chance perks, especially in the end game. If you haven't been hooked yet and you have Deliverance DS, it's pretty much a GG. Or even if you just have DS in the end game and you get unhooked, especially if a survivor has BT and unhooks you, it's GG. Pretty much if you get unhooked in the end game and you have DS, you're almost gonna get out every time unless he downs you immediately and just slugs you, which I feel like most of the time in red ranks that doesn't happen. People are either tanking hits or using borrowed time. But DS is almost a guaranteed escape in the end game, and like I said, and when you have 4 survivors that can all run it together, that just adds to it. Now look, you can look at all of this stuff as rewarding bad play, or you can look at it as a second chance, which that's how I look at it. All of these perks are second chance perks, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is exactly what No One Escapes Death is. You have a second chance at the end. Either you've made some mistakes in the game, committed to a chase too long, maybe didn't pressure the right gens. Now you have a chance at the end to make something happen. The biggest difference when comparing exhaustion perks to NOED is that exhaustion perks are infinitely better, because all 4 survivors can have them, which in red ranks they normally do, and as I mentioned earlier, you can use them over and over and over. But with NOED, it just takes 1 perk slot. You can use any of those 3 perks I mentioned earlier to completely counter NOED. It doesn't take much, especially if you're in a squad and even 2 of you run that, then you're cleansing totems twice as efficiently. Not to mention, NOED doesn't even give you that much most of the time. Usually it gets you 1 kill, unless the survivors are complete overly altruistic morons and give the killer a 4K, which can happen, or maybe you're outpositioned, which can happen, but most of the time, against good survivors, you don't get a ton of value out of NOED if they play smart. I do want to mention, I don't have any problem with any exhaustion perk, DS, Deliverance, any gen rushing. I have no problem with anything. I had nothing at all. I literally don't. I'm just bringing all this up because in my opinion, it is very comparable, and when we're talking about second chances, if we're going to be complaining about a perk that's not that good, NOED's really not that good. It comes in clutch for sure during the end game at times, you know, when you need to make up for mistakes you made or just make up for, you know, fast gens or whatever it may be. But I don't see how this perk is any more busted or unfair or rewarding of bad play than everything that survivors have, including, like I mentioned, all of those items and add-ons as well. The final category that I want to talk about is Suspense. Now this I'm talking about from a survivor standpoint, because I do play survivor as well, almost equally to what I play killer. I play survivor off stream, and I do play survivor a bit on stream too, but when I'm playing off stream, I'm mostly playing survivor, and that's because survivor is more chill in my opinion. But from a survivor standpoint, I love the suspense of NOED. This is a horror game, but it never feels scary unless you're going against a stealth killer maybe, but after you've played this game for a good amount of time, there's nothing that's really suspenseful or scary in the game, with the exception of NOED, because you never really know if it's there. You always have to have it in your mind, and it always adds a bit of a risk factor to your games. There's a lot of split-second decisions you have to make, and it's very suspenseful, and I like that as survivor. I think it adds so much more interest to the match as a whole. Because once the gates are powered, it's pretty much GG, right? That's just pretty much the end. I mean, you could say there's Blood Warden and some other endgame stuff, which is fine, but NOED definitely has the most suspense. And yeah, for me as Survivor, I love going against it. I've never ever had an issue going against it. And if a killer does have it, it is what it is. I guess we shouldn't have done gens so fast. We should have looked around for totems. Maybe, like I said, should have brought those perks, which make it incredibly easy to counter. But if we didn't, and we go down to it, it is what it is. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm tired of people acting like using NOED is against, you know, against the rules, against some fucking made-up moral code, just like all the other stupid shit that people whine about in this game. Run whatever perks you want, as killer or survivor. I think NOED is perfectly balanced, and I think it's balanced because of all of the things that survivors have, and I also think that all the things survivors have are more balanced because of NOED. I would say if you're going to take out exhaustion perks, then you would take out NOED, and I would say vice versa. If you're going to take out NOED, you'd probably have to take a look at exhaustion perks. But I think the fact that they're both in the game, I think they make each other balanced, and that's the way I look at it. That's my opinion. They're both second chances. They both quote unquote reward bad play, you know, or reward being outpositioned in the survivors. On the survivor side. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. I'll probably do another debate stream on my Twitch sometime soon, so you can come be a part of that if you disagree with my view on NOED or my view on anything else in Dead by Daylight. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see y'all soon.